Hello from Idaho. I strive to provide interesting videos about motorcycles, fabrication, welding, electronics, machining, and general creativity. I hope you enjoy. Hello from Idaho. Well, we're in the middle of February. It's cold outside. We got our first snow yesterday, but it didn't stick around. Really low snow year. Anyway, here's my drill press. I'm going to be working on a new to me kind of vise. This is basically a Craftsman 20-inch, 2 horsepower. I bought it in 1992. It served me well. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I like the big table, and I like the fact that its slowest speed is about 50 RPM. And it's a 3/4 inch chuck. And so it can put quite a bit of torque into whatever you're drilling. And so the first thing you teach you in shop class is use a vise, right? Okay, so I've got lots of vices. I've got, this is the one I use the most. It's got a little kerf cut into each jaw so that I can clamp bar stock with it really easy. This is like probably a 4 or 5 inch. This is about a 2.5. Same concept. This is another one of my vices that gets bigger, and I've got this one that allows me to do odd shaped pieces, and that's handy occasionally. At any rate, and here's my clamp. I modified it from a normal clamp that has the bolt on the bottom to take a T-nut, and this table has got T-nut slots in it, so I can slide it and clamp down the edge of the vise, or clamp down the piece that I'm drilling if I'm not using a vise. So the problem is human nature. From the initial super dramatic clip at the beginning of this video, we know that this video is about being safe on your drill press. And the best place I've ever seen it demonstrated, although I couldn't find a clip, is a guy was drilling a hole in a knife handle on Forged in Fire, and he didn't have a vise, and the bit stuck and started flinging that knife blade around and around and around, and it cut him pretty good on that TV show. Now there's literally hundreds of episodes, and I tried searching for that particular piece of footage, but I couldn't find it. So it is a good example of what goes wrong. And like I said, the problem is human nature. You get in the middle of a project, you're in a hurry, you drill your piece on the table without any clamps, and 90%, 99%, 95% of the time you get by with it, no problem. But that 1%, that piece flings around, it cuts your hand, it throws everything off the table. So then they say, well, Machine Shop 101, use a vise. And so you put your part in a vise, and that works a little bit higher percentage, but still sometimes the bit catches and it flings the vise around. Sometimes it bends or breaks the drill bit. Anyway, it's not a good thing. And why I say it's human nature is because in each one of those cases, if you had just clamped down your vise using these T-slots and some bolts, or using clamps or whatever, you wouldn't have had the problem. But like I said, human nature. You're in a hurry, you want to do it quick, and so you don't use a clamp. And so for me, I needed an easier to use clamp. And so I started designing a float lock vise, which basically has a bolt that goes down through the edge of the table and a handle to tighten it down. And it comes over and hooks to the vise and holds the vise from spinning, and it also clamps it down to the table. Well, they're great. They have their limitations. And then I saw on a video someplace where someone had just bolted a piece of long stock onto their vise, and so that stock would come over and hit the column, and it would keep it from spinning, but it still can lift up. So the other day I was looking at Tubal Cain's channel, if you're into fabrication, and he's a very, very interesting guy. He used to be a shop teacher. He's a good machinist, and he's a good instructor. And he was working on a magnetic base vise. And he made one that worked really good, but I wasn't really happy with the design, so I designed my own, and that's what this video is about. And so the next series will be a few little snippets of how to make it, and then the wrap up will be how to use it. So let's get busy. Okay, beginning to get some of this together. This is the plate that will go on top of these on-off magnets. These are Noga, basically 5 inches. And they have an M10 by 1.25 thread, which will go through this hole and this hole, so they will mount like this. And they will, so with only one hole, they're maybe going to spin. So I'm going to remove 50,000th inch material here and make a step, so that will hold the magnet from turning. These are the 3 vices that I use most of the time on my drill press that I've got. They're all basically the same but different sizes. This one has a groove that I milled into it so that I can easily clamp plate, bar stock. This one's a little bit, same thing, a little bit smaller. And this one I use when I need to get really wide, because it will get really wide. But most of the time I don't use it. It's got this jaw is a little bit floppy, not so much when it's under clamping pressure, but anyway, these are the 3 vices that will mount on this. So I put them all on here and laid out where their holes were, and then marked center punches for the holes that I'll use to hold them down. This vise will only accept about 1/4 of an inch bolt. The others would accept a bigger one. But 4 1/4 inch bolts tight will, it'll lift half a ton, so I'm not worried about that exactly. So I'm going to tap these 12 holes, 1/4 20, and then I'll just use a washer on these larger holes. And so now it's time to start cutting some metal. Okay, by now I've got all 12 holes that are going to be tapped to 1/4 20 drilled, and I've got the holes that hold on the magnetic bases. So now we're going to tap. I've already drilled these to 201, which is the starting hole size for a 1/4 20. Always make sure you use tapping fluid. It makes this job so much easier. Now I usually use my drill and set it to about a 10 as far as the ratchet, and that keeps me from breaking the tap if it gets stuck. But with the Tap Magic, it just basically goes on in aluminum. Time to go. The way most people use these things is this thing actually has a drill built into it, and it will drill a hole and then tap. I don't do that because it's then hard to get the hole perpendicular to the surface. And so I drill the holes on the drill press where I'm guaranteed a square hole. I drill down to 0.201 in this case. And then that 0.201 hole becomes my drill guide. And I just put it in the hole, and then now it's straight, and now I can tap it. Okay. All right, we're good to go. So now I'm going to round the corners and put a satin finish on it with a double action sander, and then we can put it together. Okay, the fabrication is done. I have my two magnets bolted to the bottom of my plate, and I have my most used vise bolted to the top, although I have other bolt holes for my other less used vices. It's moves around like normal until you turn these two little switches. Now it's held down by 580 pounds of force, and that's really force this way. So if the bit catches and tries to pull it up, the twisting resistance is 580 times the coefficient of friction of steel on steel. Well, I used to work on designing locomotives, mostly control systems, and we know that the coefficient of friction between steel is about 0.3. So 580 times 0.3 is still about 180 pounds of twisting force that resists it, and so it's going to be plenty good for drill bits up to like 1.5 inches or whatever. And so let me talk a little bit about the virtues and why this is the best solution I've found. At one point I started making a float lock vise, which basically has a pivot and a handle to tighten it down, and it holds the vise not only in position, but it has a rod that runs across here, and so it keeps it from twisting, and it holds it down to the table. Well, that's excellent, unless you want to change the orientation of the vise jaws, because with a float lock vise you get exactly one choice. And so if I need to do a really long piece of steel, I can put my support out here, run it through my magnetic vise, and clamp it in any position I want. And so that's one of the reasons why I abandoned my float lock vise project. At one point, I was going to just bolt a piece of a bar stock to the side of my vise. And so the bar stock would come over and touch the column, and that would keep it from twisting. It doesn't keep it from lifting, but it also has the same problem in that it's one orientation only. And so I'm very pleased with this vise. I've drilled a few things with it. I had 6 5/8" holes that I needed to drill, and it held it down and kept it from twisting even with a 5/8" bit. And with it being locked down, I would just set it up once for the distance back from this jaw, so I would always be on center line, and then I would just move this in and out to drill my next hole because they were all center punched. And so I'm very pleased with this magnetic base vise. It's been done hundreds of times. The internet is full of people that have done similar things. Sometimes they do it a little bit less rigorously. They just bolt the magnet to the vise without this intervening plate. But I wanted to have many vices that would go on here. The vices are held down by 4 1/4" bolts with grade 8 washers. And so it's easy to put on and off. And with that, I will say goodbye from Idaho. As usual, if you like or dislike my video, please select the appropriate button and let me know why. I really appreciate comments, and I will answer every one. If you're new to my videos, please select the subscribe and the notification bell to get more videos like this.